Alright, we're going to make carnitas today on the Incredigrill. The twist that we have is that we make the carnitas totally wrapped up in tin foil. Take advantage of the Incredigrill's ability to really control the heat. The nice thing about pork shoulder is that it's very inexpensive, but it's got the bone in, so that retains a lot of good flavor, and then you also have the bone to do things like make soup out of. We're going to end up with a very crispy crackling of the skin, very succulent and tender meat. The first thing we do is cut some onions up, and we're going to dice the onions pretty fine, because what we want to do is end up with very finely diced onions that will melt down and sort of disappear in the juices. Very little, if any, drippings come out, and then at the end we take that foil off, collect up all the drippings into a drip bowl, reduce the drippings down. Meanwhile, the meat is put back onto the fire, but now we blast the heat, and by blasting the heat we get the crackling of the skin, so it's crispy and bubbly, and we also get some caramelization on the meat. And the onions have a lot of sugar in them, and that sugar also caramelizes during the cooking process. The juices that it leaves behind are what creates a nice crust on the meat when we hit it with the high heat. We're going to truss the meat because we want to hold it all together. At the end, when we get the meat out of the slow cooking, it's going to be literally falling off the bone, and we don't want to have the meat fall off the bone when it gets put back on the rotisserie without the foil pouch. So this way we get a little truss going that creates a cage for the meat, and then this truss will hold in the meat and the skin after it becomes fall off the bone tender, so that we can finish it, rotisserie cook it at high heat and end up not losing anything. So there it is. It spins pretty nicely. It's probably about as centered as we're going to get, and that should work fine. The idea is that we want to have the meat totally surrounded by the foil so that we create a pouch, and that pouch is going to hold in all the juices. Put a layer of the onion down, so we have some banana peppers. Banana peppers, of course, will add some delicious heat, and also the vinegar will help to tenderize the meat as well. And then we've got a bit of salt, not too much, some adobe seasoning. I'm just doing half on each side, so half the salt, half the adobe seasoning, half the black pepper, and then we've got a good amount of dry chopped garlic. I'm just basically doing the reverse of what we did on the bottom. Put some peppers on top, put the onions. And now we want to make this nice and tight, nice and centered on the spit. And then in the end, this pouch is unwrapped, and we unwrap it over a drip bowl, collect up all the juices, and then reduce that down to be added in to flavor the meat. So there it is. It's a very, very nice compact package of meat. It's on the rotisserie, it spins nicely, and now we're ready to put it onto the Incredigrill. Alright, so now we've got our grill set up with the rotisserie kit, and we're going to use water, just plain water. The pork shoulder is wrapped up as we did, and now we're going to put it onto the rotisserie, get the spit onto the motor, and I'll just make sure everything turns and you don't have any problems with the centering of the meat, and the meat is well balanced, and as you can see, it's nicely balanced. The bottom door in. We already have the burner heating up, and then we're just going to cover it up with the wok that's being used as a lid, and now we're just going to let this slow rotisserie cook. The carnita has been cooking for about 3 or 4 hours now, and we'll let it cook for maybe another 45 minutes. Take the tin foil off, crisp it up, save all those drippings, pull the meat off the bone, put the drippings back in, and have delicious carnitas tonight. The carnitas have been cooking for about 4 hours, and now we're going to take off the tin foil, collect up the juices, and then blast the heat. Alright, we're going to let this cook at very high heat so that we crisp up the skin and we crisp up the meat. Meanwhile, we're going to reduce down the drippings that we've collected, and it's all going to go into the meat that we pull off the bone, and it's going to be delicious. So we're just going to keep this covered up for about another 25-30 minutes. You can see it's just browning up beautifully, starting to get a really nice bubble on the skin side, good caramelization on the meat side. Maybe another 10 more minutes under the high heat, and that's the beauty of this Incredigrill. You can really control the heat so well, get the high heat when you need it, Get the slow, low cooking when you need it, and it all comes out absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this carnita. So there it is, that's the carnitas. I'd say that's about done. We're going to take it off, pull it down, pull the meat from the bones, and we're going to have delicious carnitas for dinner.
That's Incredigrill!